What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Cap Sports. Today we have a huge show, childhood friend, longtime friend, joining us today, Hayden Henderson.
Big dog in the house. This guy's a stud. Just take one look at him. I mean, you know what? Get up, stand up. Do a 360 for us, bro.
Show it
Show
off.
the
Y'all trying to
world
embarrass
this
me.
big body.
country.
Bro.
Yeah, you didn't know we were going to
Look
do
at
this.
this hoss right here. Look, yeah. All right, yeah. There we go. That's what I want to see. That ass. Okay. Dear God.
There goes the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
We had to reinforce these chairs before he came in here because this is a unit. Okay. So, like Colton said, childhood friend. I've known him for a very long time. Football god right here, wrestling superstar.
Yeah.
Hayden Henderson, like Colton said, so pumped to have you on, bro.
Well, look, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we go way back, so it's been nice to build that connection again and hook up with you guys. And looking forward to this show today. I'm excited to roast on Colton a little bit.
Yes,
Just go
there
from
we
there.
go, baby. He's a part of the group now. Let's roll. All right. So, all right, man. So you've done it all. Like I said, I mean, obviously football, big time wrestling guy. You had the huge luxury in life of, you know, growing up with a bunch of siblings. Y'all fought with each other. But mainly your dad. Your dad is a huge, big time, you know, Alabama coach. Been around, you said 34 years earlier. We all know him. And, you know, I had the privilege of playing football with you for a few years while we were young. And like I told you earlier, you were my favorite person to do Oklahoma drills with and bull in a ring, man. Just let me get in that big old circle. I hope they're calling out your number because you're the only person that's going to try to hit me. No one else is coming.
Well, you better be awake if you're trying to Oklahoma drill Hayden.
Yeah. He was this size.
If you weren't awake, he was just going to put you right back.
He was this size from the time we were like 6 years old.
Yeah, he was.
No lie. He's working out for sure. Like he's getting all the supplements and everything, right?
I mean, being a coach's kid, you know, my dad had us on that meal plan.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to eat, we're going to live, we're going to work out. And, you know, there's a saying in my family, built by bricks. And it's kind of true.
Oh, my God. Cinder blocks.
You know, dad used to put bricks in our hands growing up. And he's like, all right, take off. And that was our workout, you know. Just,
really?
We'd have 2 bricks in our hands and we'd take off through the neighborhood and start running through the neighborhood until dad got tired.
So he got tired.
Yeah, until dad got
Was
tired.
he running with you or was he driving along in the truck?
You know, sometimes he would just like disappear in the open somewhere and then he'd be in his truck just making sure we were running and all that kind of stuff.
So,
yeah.
Liam, if you're watching this, I got a new idea for our workout plan.
Let me run this back. You know, you talk about me being a great ball player. I mean, growing up, great baseball, football guy, another great football, baseball guy.
Gymnastics guy. Oh, yeah.
So 2 great athletes standing beside me. I mean, so these guys made football and baseball fun growing up. So
appreciate that.
You know, like they talked about, we've been childhood friends forever, and it's great connecting again, being back on the show with these guys. And don't let these guys fool you. Great athletes here as well.
TBD, we're not the ones getting interviewed.
So I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to play high school football for my dad. You know, you asked me today, kind of funny, why I didn't play quarterback at UNA. Well, let me tell you, I was just a fullback playing quarterback because we didn't have anybody else to play that quarterback position. And luckily, I rolled into that spot. But I'm telling you, man, it was some of the best memories of my life getting to play for my dad, and memories that'll last forever. You
Absolutely.
know, but yeah, it was awesome. Every mistake that happened, either on offense or defense, and I could be sitting on the sideline getting ready for the next drive, talking to the offense coordinator, and we fumbled the ball, or something wrong happens, or you know, we turn the ball over and it's my fault. My dad's like, "Hey, what are we doing?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I'm over here. I'm over here. That, you know, defense gets scored on. My dad's like, why did we get scored on? I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't out there. I was talking to
Did you ever tell me you're the coach?
Yeah,
you're the coach.
You tell me, Dad.
No, but you know, it's been a blessing. You know, my dad's been in that coaching world for 34 years now, and he's laid a solid foundation from the time we were growing up to, you know, he's 58 years old now, and he hadn't skipped a beat.
That's
I mean,
unreal.
He is still rolling, but yeah, man, my time at Grissom was awesome. Were we great at football? No, we really weren't. Yeah. But we had a good time. You know, we didn't win a lot of games, but the memories go forever for me, and that's what I'm blessed to have with my dad. And you know, I got to play with my brother as well for a little while. Wrestled with my brother all through high school.
Yep.
And I'd probably say one of my best memories and favorite memories is me and my brother, my senior year, his sophomore year, we wrestled in the state finals together.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that that goes a long ways. Of my brother ended up being a 3-time state champion in wrestling, and just to see him pursue his career and become a national champion in college as well.
And what's crazy about that is he's I won't say half your size, but like looking at you two. Like he's obviously a little bit smaller than you are, but
he is
gritty.
Yes, very.
Well, he had to be. I mean, there's 7 of them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But just talking about
one of them had to eat. Like, I mean, they're trying to fight for food, man.
Eat crumbs.
Yeah. Like this is some big old boys. They eat.
As my dad
their
used
sisters.
to say, waste not, want not.
You're daggum right.
You better eat. Somebody's gonna eat, But no, man, I'm really grateful for what I got to do in high school, and you talk about the recruiting process as well of just my summer going into my senior year. I go to Jacksonville State, end up committing to Jacksonville State after the summer camp that I was involved in.
So between your junior and senior year?
Yeah, junior and senior year. And Jack Crow was the head football coach there during the time. And, man, they had a great program. My dad played at Jacksonville State as all-century team center at Jacksonville State. Best center in 100 years.
Standard.
Yeah.
Standard.
So it was awesome. I'm like, I grew up at Jacksonville State. I grew up a game.
You had already been there then, because, he graduated high school in 12. You were already there.
Yeah, he came through.
Yeah.
Because you did the 7-on-7 camp.
I did, yeah. We did. And, and my whole life grew up around Jacksonville State football, and I'm like, that's where I'm going.
Yep.
As my dad said, I put all my eggs in one basket. And, a couple of weeks before signing day, Chris Boone, who I think the world of, who was the defense coordinator, calls my dad, and he's like, hey, man. And he calls me, he's like, we're going to sign a kid from ACA, American Christian Academy, to play safety, because they wanted me to come and play defense and stuff. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm sorry. So we'll get more into that, but you brought it up about you playing defense, and I've always wondered. And I was thinking earlier, I'm like, I know you played fullback, but man, you'd have been the best prototypical hybrid safety, like a hybrid
thumper.
Yeah, he would have, because I was like, man, like UNA. Go ahead, just go on.
I'll tell you. I'm not a fast guy. I'm my speed.
TJ Watt over here. So
no.
Yes.
My speed was terrible, man. I'm a 4.8, 4.9 at the most, But just as I told you on the phone earlier, my dad said something growing up one time that stuck with me. He was like, if you're going to be an undersized white boy and kind of the smallest guy on the field, there's one thing you got to be.
The
meanest and most physical sucker.
And he was
there.
He still was. What's crazy, John David was probably meaner.
Probably. He probably was.
Yeah.
But again, he had
to grow up with guys like us.
Yeah. You're talking right.
But going on. But they ended up at Jacksonville State, ended up signing that ACA guy.
What was
I can't remember who it was. I know he was a dark-headed guy. He's probably about 6'1", 6'2", probably 205. Real solid guy. I wasn't very big in high school.
Horn, maybe?
Maybe it was.
Did he end up playing quarterback a couple years
later?
Yeah,
he did. Yeah. But, I wasn't a big guy in high school. I graduated at 184 pounds. And
I don't believe that for one second.
I really
graduated middle school, maybe.
No, I swear. But, I'm a big God did kind of guy. I'm a very religious guy. But I feel like God was telling me, maybe it's time for you to go somewhere where you can make a name for your own self.
Yeah.
And instead of living through that name of who your dad is and wanting to be,
set your own path.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You just so my recruitment opened back up. I didn't sign on signing day and kind of opened things back up. And my dad looked at me one day and was like, let's go hit the trail of, these different colleges and get your name back out there. And ended up deciding, well, why not go wrestle and play football in college? So I had a school in Kentucky say, hey, we'll offer you this money and you can do both.
They offer you money back then?
Yeah, huh?
They offer you some money back then?
Well, I'm not saying that, scholarship money and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It was more of a...
I was like, whoa.
Heck, man. But it was a private school. They offered me, a great scholarship to go up there and play football and wrestling. The University of the Cumberlands. I don't know if y'all ever heard of them.
I've actually have heard of that.
I signed, and then I started thinking of like, man, how am I going to make it from football of them wanting me to gain all this weight, which they wanted me to come up there and play play the triple option quarterback. They were a triple option. They were like, hey, why not
Diego Pavia.
why not come up here and play,
You'd have done great
play
with Army
for us? That dude's a freak, man.
Yeah.
But so I ended up signing, and I told Dad, I was like, how am I going to gain this weight? And then wrestling season, they want me to lose weight during wrestling season. And Dad was like, well, why don't you pray about it and see what happens? And I remember driving down the road one day, and UNA called like 2 days before this. And Cody Gross came in the picture. He was a phenomenal football player at the University of North Alabama. Ended up being our offense coordinator. Bobby Wallace comes out of retirement. Comes out of retirement, becomes the head football coach. And I'm driving down the road, and I see 3 UNA tags. And I'm like, I'm going to UNA.
Yeah. That's it?
Yeah. So I called Dad and I said, hey, I'm going to UNA, and I'm going to call Coach Gross and Coach Wallace and tell them that's where I'm coming. And, a couple weeks later, everything got sealed. I'm at the University of North Alabama.
Yeah.
So when Coach Boone called you from JSU, we're going to kind of dive into, what you went through, and for any potential, high school kids now that may be watching, it's like when they told you they were going with somebody else, did that, for you mentally, did you feel like I'm not good enough for this? Like, did you get discouraged about it? I know you and your dad, you were saying, pray about it and see where that takes you. But, like, how was your headspace during that process?
Yeah, at 18 years old, of course, everybody's, us guys being guys, you want to be down in the dumps and thinking that was my dream school. Yeah. That's where I've always wanted to go. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because like maybe one day that, I'll get to line up and play those guys and really show them that who I truly was and was going to grow into, and luckily, we got to play them 2 years while I was at the University of North Alabama.
Yep.
But I think my headspace at first was like really down and kind of question of like what's next more than like questioning of like I'm not going to get a chance.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, man, if somebody will give me an opportunity, give me a chance, I'll capitalize on that opportunity and chance. And the good Lord answered prayers and those doors opened. And man, I had the best 5 years of my life at the University of North Alabama.
You went on to be pretty dang successful.
I mean, I don't know about being successful. I think, I was at the right place at the right time that played around a lot of good people. I mean, we had 4 years of solid success when I was at North Alabama. And, you play with some top-notch guys that went on and were successful, still successful today. Mm-hmm. So, but to answer your question, I don't know. I think the way my dad raised us kids of, when adversity hits and your back's against the wall, you just come out swinging.
I'll tell you what, your dad's got to have some serious patience, though. I mean, like, God knew what he was doing with him, starting him off with being a coach. Yeah. Got him used to being around a bunch of hellions and kids because he knew he was going to send 7 of y'all hell raisers to be a part of his life. So your dad's got some serious patience, and he's definitely got to be a man of the Lord.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, like Colton's been saying earlier, like, we know your dad, of course it's been years, but from what we remember him, he's one heck of a guy.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. He is, man. My dad's laid a solid foundation in all of our kids, all of us kids' lives. He's just been a great example.
Who's the favorite?
The favorite?
I don't care what any parent says.
I'll tell you who the favorite is baby sis. Harper is the favorite. Yeah. Harper is.
You got a sister named Harper?
Yeah, I do. Harper Elise. So she is.
That's my oldest daughter's name.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, her and dad they're tight. Which don't get me wrong, we all love my dad and think the world of my dad. He's still Superman to all of us. I mean, this guy. I've never seen a man kick a football further than him barefoot. Out throw this man with a football. My sister was a great athlete. My older sister Emily, and I can remember growing up. She was a phenomenal athlete, gymnastics and track. And my sister was fast. Yes. I mean, she could fly. My dad outran her barefoot one day, and I'm like,
who is this guy?
Who is this freak?
Because I know what she is.
Yeah.
And I know how talented she is, but you...
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, that's wild.
And to make it better, it was on the concrete, too. And I mean, he just... surpassed her with ease.
She probably would have beat him if they were on turf or
Yeah.
on a court somewhere. But he knew what
Maybe
he
if
was
she had a
doing.
head start. It doesn't sound like she's been. Yeah.
No. But yeah, my dad, he's an OG, man. He's one of a kind.
Yes.
He is, yeah.
Oh man. So we were at UNA at the same time. Got to watch a lot of great ball out of those teams, like you were saying. You know, me not from the same position as you, but yeah, those teams. The time we were there, outstanding.
They were.
We were talking earlier. You know, had some really good runs, but the best year got to go to the national championship, playing Kansas City snow game.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Man, well, let me say this before I answer the snow game. That 16 team was special.
Yes.
But I'll go back to the guys that laid the solid foundation through that 16 team. You know, in 13, we made it to the quarterfinals and get beat by Lenore Ryan by 3 points.
Yep.
14, we make another run and get beat by, Valdosta by an upset that we should have won. 15, we messed around, got beat by Tuskegee, and then 16, we make that run. But man, there were some great football players that laid that great foundation. And 16, it carries over to a really fun season with these guys and end up making a run to Kansas City to play in the national championship. But you're talking about a cold day. I still get cold from that day. It was -3 degrees.
Felt like -20.
It 100% it did. The wind chill, I think they said, was like -6 or 7.
Yeah.
You had 6 inches of snow on the ground. And during timeouts, they're taking leaf blowers and they're blowing off the hashes so they can keep the down and distance.
Yeah.
And it was just, man, it was brutal. And I can remember going in from pregame warm-ups and all the guys are in there and they're like, if you put Vaseline on your body, it breaks the wind chill. And I'm like, well, give me that Vaseline. Like,
lube me up, baby.
Yeah. And, we didn't have any cold gear. I mean, I can remember coming in and Coach Wallace being like, guys, I hope y'all have got that cold gear from Shepherd, West Virginia from the week before because we didn't bring any cold gear. And we're like, oh, my God, we're about to freeze,
Coach, we're going to have to delay this game. We got to go to run at Dick's Sporting Goods real quick or something.
So we come out, and I'm wearing Vaseline all over my
glistening
body. Freaking, yeah, dude. And opening kickoff, we received the opening kickoff, and I remember sliding across the field, losing my balance, and I get up in the snow, and the ice is stuck to me.
Yeah.
And I come into halftime, and they're like, dude, do you have frostbite? Like, do you feel your legs? I mean, is everything good? And it's just a cold day. But, man, we played a really good football team that day, Northwest Missouri. Ended up getting beat. I couldn't even tell you the score, man, to be honest with you. But
I know a similar story when I was at JSU my last year there in 16. Well, it was the end of the 15 season.
Yeah.
We went to the national championship and played in Frisco, Texas against the
Carson
dynasty
Wentz.
North Dakota State. Yeah, against Carson Wentz. And that day was cold. It wasn't that cold, but it was already probably 20, 25 degrees with a 30-mile-an-hour wind.
Brutal.
It was tough.
That wind will cut you in half.
Absolutely.
I mean, you talking about
and Texas, it's flat.
Yeah,
out there,
yeah.
So there's nothing to knock it down. And we were sitting kind of down a little bit, so all the wind that came through would just right through.
I'm telling you, it's funny. The night before, we had our little national championship banquet with Northwest Missouri, dinner and all this kind of stuff. And
did y'all text State Brazil by chance?
no, we didn't. They
Just
fed
curious.
us at the stadium.
Just curious.
Man,
That's a run joke. We got you.
JSU did.
Yeah.
I would have been having meat sweats for days if
We'll tell you about that story later.
Okay, perfect. But I remember the guy that's over the Child Mercy Park at the national championship where they play, pro soccer. He's like, don't worry about the weather. We've got heated grass. Like, everything's going to melt.
Right.
So we wake up the next day, and my roommate, he played fullback as well. He was a great football player, man. Stud, country boy from Texas, hard-nosed kid.
Oh, yeah, y'all got along great.
Yeah. He's one of my best friends, man. Think the world of him. But he opens a blind, and I'm still like half asleep. He's like, dude, you got to wake up. And I'm like,
It's still
what? I was
white
like,
everywhere.
And he's like, it's snowing. I'm like, it ain't snowing. I go to the window, and I'm like, how
Are we supposed
the
to play
hell
football?
are we about to play football?
We ain't used to this.
Yeah. So we get there, and they're like, oh, yeah, it froze over last night. The heated grass is not going to work today. So it was just absolutely brutal.
It was nothing but a tease.
Oh, yeah, dude. You go to the freaking heaters on the sideline. They're not even blowing heat because it's so cold.
Yeah.
Like everybody's huddled up together trying to stay warm.
Just pissing your own pants to stay warm.
I mean, you got to do something, right? But man, what a fun run it was in 16. We had a great team, a lot of great athletes. Jacob Tucker, if you remember, Tucker played quarterback for us.
I remember Luke Wingo, and then after him was Tuck. And it's funny so one day when I was out there, man, it was on the practice football field. It was late at night, and I went out there, and this is like about a year and a half after I tore my Achilles, and like I'm really like getting like confidence back and like my running and stuff like that. And I didn't know these guys were on the football team. I saw a couple guys out there throwing football. I'm like, hey, let me get out there. Hey, I was like, hey, can I come out there and like play with y'all, throw around, whatever? I'm like, sure. Like, so I just threw me the ball, and I was just catching one handed and stuff like that left and right. They're like, oh, you can catch. I'm like, yeah. Like, you got any speed? I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm like, I tore my Achilles or whatever, so my calf and everything is like pretty jacked up, but kind of working my way back. So I went out there and like played with them, and two dudes I was like going up against, like couldn't remember their names, but they're like the starting defensive backs and everything like that. Oh yeah. And it was him
throwing
it
out there.
And man, I was just like laying out for them, diving, catching. And they're like, "Who the f are you, man?" Like they're like,
"Who's this random?
Who's this random white dude?" I mean, they would press me, they'd play off me. I mean, like it was 2-on-1 the whole time, and we were out there for like 2 hours. It was pitch dark. We had to like turn on some car lights.
Sounds like you were out there being Lee Mayhall for us.
Dude, yes, I was OG Cooper Cup is what I was doing.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I was just like, after like 2 hours, I was like, I appreciate it, guys, and then like the next Friday, I'm like, because at the time I'd caught their names or whatever. Next Friday, or next Saturday, like go to the game and like watching, the announcements, stuff like that, like players, and I'm like, holy crap, Hannah! Like I was just out there. You remember, like. Because she had came
Vince
out.
Papali.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the dude said. He's like, hey, like, dude, like, you need to come out. And I'm like, I think it's past me. They're like, no, you need to come out. And I'm like, I've got a job at like the local movie theater.
I work full time.
Like I'm too focused on my school.
Dude, we had some freaking stud white boys that came through the receiver.
For sure.
I mean, we had Lee Mayhall, which is one of the hands down freakiest athletes receiver wise I've ever seen in my life. This dude, he caught everything. It didn't matter where the ball was, it was in his hands.
Yeah.
And then you had Jason Smith. I'm sure y'all remember Jason Smith. Called him Jay Nasty from Madison County High School.
Yeah.
Dude could fly, dude could catch anything. You would have fit in great.
I wish I had.
Add another white boy to the roster.
Yeah. Hey, if nothing else, man, let me just get on some special teams and bust some heads like Vince Papali. All right.
Special teams was the best thing. That's what I love.
White knuckles, I'm rushing. Yeah. check. I'm coming.
I'm coming.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, you talking about two great quarterbacks coming through UNA. I mean, you made a joke today earlier about why didn't you try to play quarterback? Well, let me tell you, Luke Wingo was a stud. And
I was looking. So after you said that, I looked up his stats. So I guess his second year or his first year as the real starter, he had like 23 passing touchdowns and 14 rushing.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
and you talking about hard nosed, too. Yeah. I mean, like, he would run over you. I mean, he had
like almost right around 3,000 passing yards and like 500 or 600 rushing yards. White dude.
Yeah.
Killing it. I mean, this is only 2010.
And it was cool, too, because,
it was.
I mean, truly. I mean, you had Luke Wingo. And then we played it like a 2-quarterback system. You know, Jacob Tucker would come in, different drives and stuff like that, different personnels for us. But you talking about 2 hammers, man, and 2 guys that, Luke's from Tuscaloosa. Then you got old country boy Jacob Tucker from small town Perry County, Tennessee. And he was like a Tim Tebow because he didn't care. He would run right through you. And
remember
85 yards down the field.
Yeah, he had a cannon.
So, I mean, 2 solid quarterbacks.
I think he broke one of my fingers when I was for the couple hours I was throwing with him.
Yep. But
he was like Josh Carpenter, just 100 mile an hour.
You're not warming up with that guy.
Yeah.
No.
He's who I used to have to warm up with.
What was that game that you used to play growing up where you just throw the piss out of the football?
I know, I can't think of
it. You drop it, you lose,
Yeah.
Hot hands or something like it.
Carp would play that in baseball. It would be like 21. You'd have to keep the score or whatever, but he's standing like 20 feet apart, and he's like, "Here comes throwing as hard as I can."
Yeah.
You better catch it. If not, I'm
going to hit you in the face.
Yeah. And absolutely. Yeah. Remember when he had the Batman mask, like he broke his nose or something?
do remember that.
Sorry to get off topic. I just
Is that
the Carp that played at UNA?
Yeah.
Dude, he was a stud too.
Yeah.
Man.
He was.
Dude,
so growing up,
thought for sure he was like going pro. Like,
we thought like you got to think like out of the kids you grew up with, and because me and Carp we played rec ball early on together, and then he stopped and started playing travel ball, and it's like from there on it's like if there's one dude that I think's gonna like make it.
That guy's
that dude.
Like he's Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter ain't dead yet, but he's already Derek Jeter reincarnated. Like
he
2.0.
Yeah, for sure.
He was a stud. Yeah. He was like he had it. Like he had all the right tools around him.
Yeah.
Like his dad
very much like yours.
His dad Barry just
they had a
super
baseball field
coach. Like he was
The
funny.
real
It's
deal.
like our T-ball film or our T-ball years. There was a dad on the team that recorded all of those, and my mom had them transferred over to like a DVD.
Really?
So I got those
How
T-ball
about
tapes.
that? That is awesome.
It's cool.
That's crazy.
Y'all probably had some studs on that team.
So-
was Jake Westerhouse on that team as well?
Yeah.
Because he played in
in high
North
school.
Alabama too. You know.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Sanderson.
Yeah. My roommate Riley Sanderson. Do you know
Yeah,
Riley? Yeah.
Riley.
We roomed together.
It's crazy how many guys from this local area that came to North Alabama to play.
yeah.
You remember Nick Tantalou?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I still talk to him.
Nick's a
you know.
good dude,
Yeah.
man. He's
lives
been successful. and-
extremely so. He lives back here now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he-
he's working for State Farm now.
Yeah,
isn't he?
yeah. Hannah does work with him like every other day,
That's
every day
awesome.
or something like that.
Yeah.
See, it's awesome seeing these guys, that growing up, just great athletes,
You
great
can.
ball
It's
players.
crazy. Like, looking back, you can tell early. It's like
Who was gonna
We
be.
always knew that the dude was a freak.
Yeah.
And he went on to do it. He's also on the list to come on the show.
Which
That'd
I
a
think
fun
he
one
would
to-
be a great one. I mean,
Yeah.
you're
Dude,
talking about some stories.
His
I'm
dad,
sure.
the stories he could tell about his dad's motivational tactics.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, because I remember them. I was there for some of them.
Look, I'll tell you, you talking about dad's motivational stuff. I can remember growing up, and my dad just did this with my nephew that just started wrestling. We'd be growing up. We started wrestling when we were 3 years old.
Yeah. Did your dad wrestle? I'm sorry. But
Yeah, he did.
Okay, I just wondered.
So dad he wrestled as well and everything like that. But I can remember dad like telling us like, hey, this kid that you're about to wrestle eats nails. So you better get your mind right. And you would go out there and just
Shake
be
it like-
so hyped up. Like you would just like kill these kids. And
Yeah.
dad's like, hey, good job. Proud of you.
Yeah.
It's like, he didn't eat nails though. So I mean he just did that to my nephew. He started wrestling.
That's awesome.
Told my nephew, he was like, "Hey, this kid flew in from Russia. He's looking for for this kid named Lim."
That's a
Creed."
psychopath.
Yeah,
I love it.
And my nephew goes out there, first tournament ever, pins and wins 3 matches.
Your dad
ends up placing in this tournament, and I'm like,
Heck
I
yeah.
need your dad to come be a motivational speaker for my 7U basketball team.
"Let's do it."
Your
Let's
dad
make it
has like the
happen.
Rocky movies on repeat for the kids, doesn't he? Like,
But, 100%.
yeah, like especially like Rocky 4, like in Russia training.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, dad he just had that mentality, man.
He
because-
probably loves doing that because he obviously he did it with all his
Oh,
kids, but
yes.
now like the nephews
No.
and like the grandchildren now,
exactly.
he's on cloud.
Yeah, he cracks me
100.
up. He's like,
What do they call him? What's
Big
his
Daddy.
Yeah, I love it.
Big
course.
Daddy. Yeah.
Why would it be anything
Yeah.
else?
But the best thing about this is my dad, like, he tells us all the time, I thought I loved my kids, but I really love my grandkids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
bull crap.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is.
I figured that out with my parents too.
Mm-hmm.
They love my kids. I got 3 girls and they're all over it.
Yep. It's
Like,
the
oh,
best,
that's
though.
what love looks like.
Yes. Yeah, thanks.
About 20 years too late.
Yeah.
Or they make that joke of, oh, don't worry about it. You were adopted anyway.
Yeah. Have you gotten pestered yet about when you're having kids?
Dude, all the time.
I know.
Everybody's always like, when you get married,
When you get married.
having kids.
When I want to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in no rush, man. I'm just kind of enjoying life and finally got a job where I don't have to worry about moving around all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been good.
So you finished up your college career, had the chance to go to the NFL Combine. Tell us about that, dude. That's got to be
Because that's
cloud nine.
That's invitation only. You can't just pay a.
No, you technically
so,
can. Yeah.
This one that I was actually invited to. So the day after the national, or the night after the national championship game, I had an NFL agent reach out to me, Scott Bergman. Great dude. His big thing was hang loose, is what he used to say all the time. But I thought it was a scam at first. 'Cause
Yeah.
you really don't know. Playing Division II football, yeah, these guys a lot of these guys go on and play pro football, but I really didn't know how the agent stuff worked and everything. And I'm like, I kind of waved it off, and I'm like, yeah, that's I don't know. But the next day we flew home, and I talked to Dad, and he was like, well, give this guy a call, like see what he's talking about. So we got on the phone call, and I got with my offense coordinator, who was Stedman Campbell at the time,
Right.
and he was like, well, I don't see why you wouldn't, like go give it a shot. And the big thing is, man, what struck his interest with me is the way that I played special teams.
Yeah.
White boy, undersized. It's going to be hard.
Headhunter.
Like he told me, NFL stands for not for long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, only a certain percentage of those guys make it.
Yeah.
But
Average career is 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, man. But so I ended up kind of building that connection with Scott, and Scott was like, hey, let's do a couple pro days. So UNA put on a pro day. Ended up going to Troy for a pro day as well that it got me into. And then there was a thing called the Regional Combine.
Yep.
So the Regional Combine is where I went, which spent 2 days in New Orleans at the New Orleans Saints facility, which was, when I tell you, the most humbling experience I've ever experienced in my life, man. It truly was, because
I guarantee there's someone that went there that same day that probably still talks about, that may or may not remember your name, but they're like, there was a hoss there that day.
No, I doubt it, because I promise you, the things that you do towards the NFL of these drills, of the L drill, the 5-10-5, running 40s, broad jump, I didn't have those tools, man. I just
see, that's why I hate the combine and those matches, because when you get suited up and you get on the field,
it's a whole different ballgame.
It is, man. You become who you are, right?
Exactly.
And you mentioned Tebow a little bit ago. I'm just gonna throw it he was a lefty quarterback. He didn't have the right throwing mechanics on his stuff, but for me, if I was
He's
a
a
GM,
gamer.
He won games. He rallied the troops. He found ways to win. He beat my Steelers when he was the Broncos.
Did first play in overtime.
he did.
I mean, all of that, but he found ways to win.
He did.
And that's the thing that always, I look at and sets people apart. Those things are great. How often is especially a guy that plays wide receiver, running back, getting the opportunity to burst out on a 40, 50, 60, 70-yard run really put that 4.3, 4.4, speed to use? Not often.
Not often. Unless you're Saquon this year and just decided to
that's a different story.
take it to a whole different level.
Hurdling backwards.
But when there's tape of guys like you on special teams, or playing fullback, that's constantly laying the blocks, setting the hole for your running back, or on special teams, constantly when the first one's down the field, making the tackle, making the right play. It's I want that guy on my team.
Definitely.
You know?
And, it's like Scott was telling me the whole time. He was like, man, if there's one chance that you have, I think you've got a chance to maybe go to mini camp and kind of prove yourself, because truly, you're not going to run the best 40. You're not going to jump the highest. You're not going to run the best 5-10-5 or L drill. And I knew that going into it. Now, Don't get me wrong. I'm going to go in there and give it all I got.
Absolutely.
But one of my funniest stories I tell about being in New Orleans that day on that Sunday is we're getting ready to run the 40s, and the fullback's position with the O-line guys for the 40s. And there's this guy from Northwestern. And you're talking about a burly, grown ass
Offensive lineman?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Built different.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
I don't know if he played tackle or if he played guard, center. I can't remember. But I just remember them calling his name out. And he's right there in front of me in line, and he runs this 40. I kind of put my head down to kind of get in the zone, and they call out 4.65. This dude's probably 6'4", 325, 330, and I'm like,
why'd I have to go after him?
how am I going to match that?
Yeah.
My hamstring just tightened up.
I'm 5'10", 5'11", 240, and I'm like, there's no way I'm fixing to outrun this big old sucker. That guy.
After him, too.
Yeah, that guy's going to the league.
I would have looked at the guy, you want to go next?
Yeah, who's next? But no, and then you run up there and you run a 4.8, and it's But you're talking about some guys that were just on different levels, guys that are probably still playing in the league from that regional combine, but one of the coolest experiences I've ever experienced. You're in the dome over there, their practice facility, pictures of Drew Brees all over the place. Yep. All these scouts from the Bills to the Saints to the Chiefs and all this stuff. But just going through those drills and seeing those guys that are on that different level than you are was wild.
And that's what's kind of unfortunate for you. And going back to what Preston said, it's like the measurables is what they see. Yeah, they can get film and all like it seems like the bigger name guys coming out of college, their film gets displayed throughout the year through ESPN highlights and all that stuff. But like it's almost like going to a smaller school like UNA, you almost have to annoy.
You must have to like do your own recruiting
like
again.
That. Yeah, sending your tape out. It's like, look, I may not look great on clipboard, but like,
get me in the game.
Here's what I do, and I do on a regular basis.
Oh, for sure.
So to you, and this is not a knock, but it's like going into it, it's like you almost feel like it's a disadvantage because you knew that you weren't going to be the fastest or the quickest, like doing the lateral stuff. It's like, but you turn on the film, like,
so when
I'm that guy.
When you went to the combine, you went as a fullback. You didn't think about like trying to like showcase any other position or anything.
I actually went in. You know, I was one of the very first ones to get called in because I also long snapped as well. So I did some long snapping in front of those. I was actually the only long snapper that got called in that day. I don't know if it was just nobody else decided to show up a long snap, or they just kind of brought somebody because it was a private thing.
Yeah,
like my dad and my granddad came, my pawpaw, and they couldn't be involved. Like they closed the doors. It was all cut off. It was only the scouts and the guys participating.
If your dad had got in there, I have a good feeling he would have talked somebody up. He would have been someone's ear.
Oh, he was there. Nobody knows. He was there.
I would have seen that.
I was saying, hey, he would have got signed like for sure.
No.
Your dad like. But we're both coming. You don't have a choice.
Dad got picked up by the Kansas City Chiefs in '89.
Yeah.
But ended up, my older sister was born during the time he was supposed to leave to go to mini camp and stuff like that, and decided not to go. So that kind of gave me that motivation of like, man, if I get the opportunity, like I want to try to go and see what I can do. You know, But yeah, so you talk about a different position. Yeah, tried to long snap as well, and did the fullback position there as well. But man, I'm telling you, you see the whole different ball game from, not to knock Division II because there's some great athletes that come from Division II.
Janoris Jenkins played at UNA.
He did.
Played a long career.
I mean, there's Kenny Moore that played at Valdosta State. This is starting free safety for the Colts. He played at Valdosta. We played against him, but not to knock Division II because I don't care if you play D3, D2, D1, NAI. If you play college ball, you're studying.
Because there's guys in the league that are from those places.
100%.
And more are coming from those levels too.
Yeah. Yes. But you see the difference in guys that played that Division I level compared to these different schools. Yeah. They're just they play SEC for a reason, or they play in the Big Ten for a reason, you know. But yeah, it was great. I had a blast. I had a great agent. He took care of me. Still kind of follow him through social media and everything like that. But no, man, it was a humbling experience. It was one of the biggest blessings that I ever had because, growing up, you always think like, man, I'd love to play in the NFL or go pro. And and you got a little taste of that. So it was cool. And having the opportunity to go over to Germany and play my agent transitioned me to somebody over Germany. And he was like, hey, you want to go to Germany?
Really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, okay. And it ended up,
you know any German?
Decided not to go to Germany because I was like,
Das Boot.
Yeah, and then
you've been a quality rugby star. I guarantee that. Rugby.
You're talking about prototypes.
Yes. It just now hit me. You would have been a rugby superstar.
Rugby seems like a great game, though.
I don't know anything about it.
No,
it's not football.
The physicality, I love it, But and then the Green Bay Blizzard was another opportunity that I had to go play some arena ball and stuff like that. But man, as soon as all that stuff with the NFL kind of panned out, because I knew it was a slim to chance. Like if somebody would have gave me an opportunity or a chance, hell yeah, let's buckle this thing up and let's
you would have made it
fun.
Happen.
I would have loved to have been a blocking dummy or a freaking tackling dummy, and
those guys get paid well.
Yeah, beat me up all day. You know what I'm saying? But the good Lord closed that door, and I was so blessed to play 5 years at UNA, build the relationships that I did because the people that I met, the friends that I have. Lifetime, having that chance with Scott and the NFL stuff. But God closed that door, and then I started coaching.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I couldn't wait for this part. Lead us off with that, man. Let's go.
Yeah, so got done playing and left UNA in the spring of 2017. And my dad calls me. He's like, hey, I ran into somebody today at a funeral. And I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, who is it? He's like, you trying to go coach? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's my passion, my love. And And he goes, Buddy Stevens. And I'm like, you talking about like Last Chance You
Like
off
the
Netflix?
Netflix guy?
He's
So
like,
for
yeah,
viewers,
yeah, yeah.
if y'all remember the Netflix show Last Chance U, he's referring to East
Yes.
Mississippi Community College, Buddy Stevens, head coach
The
there.
first season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
First
And-
two, right? Yeah.
Yeah, first two.
Continue
and so long story short, man, I haven't showed up at this place. Don't know anything about this place. I just know because I wanted to stay at UNA and kind of finish out everything and coach there. But Bobby Wallace retired as soon as we played in the national championship, and Chris Willis, who think the world of that guy as well, ended up taking the head job. But he was like, "Hey, you just got done playing." He told a couple of us this. Leave for a little while, and if that opportunity presents itself, we'll call y'all back, and we'll bring y'all back to coach. But so Dad calls me. He's like, "Why don't you go to East?" And I'm like, "I have no idea about this place."
How'd your
at this
dad know,
time.
Buddy?
So Buddy coached at Sparkman High School in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
and when my dad or maybe early 90s,
That was the 90s.
mid 90s,
Yeah, it was the
early
90s.
2000s, something like that. And my dad was there for if I'm not mistaken. Buddy was the head coach. He left to go to Pearl River somewhere, community college.
Did not
Yeah,
know that.
Yeah, and then my dad got the head job at Sparkman High School after Buddy or somebody.
Yeah.
So him and Buddy go way back, and Buddy was like, "Yeah, tell Hayden to come on and I'll take care of him and all this kind of stuff." And I'm like, you know what? I called Buddy and I'm like, "All right, I'm coming." He was like, "All right, I need you here June 7th, workout start, all this kind of stuff." So I can remember driving to Scuba, Mississippi, and I accepted the job and everything. Didn't even go on an interview. It was just like, "Yeah, I'm coming," over the phone.
What position or like what coaching position?
So I didn't know until I got there. All right, so it makes it even better, right? So I get there and I call my dad and I'm on the phone with Dad and I'm like, "I'm coming home." He's like, starts laughing. He's like,
because he knew exactly what he did to
he's
you.
like, "No, you're not." And I'm like, he's like, "Go do what you got to do."
Yep.
Hangs up the phone and I'm like, "Oh my God." And I'm looking around. I'm in the middle of absolute nowhere.
Truly.
I'm seeing mosquitoes fly around that big, the state bird as they call them in Scuba. But I get out of the car and I go in there and man, here I am. Last Chance You. I mean, Buddy Stevens meet me at the front door. He's like, "Welcome," all this kind of stuff. He's like, "You're going to be coaching defensive line and the assistant strength coach." Baptized in the ring of fire, fellas. Let me tell you.
Oh,
You go from playing 5 years of college football in a fun. I mean, you've been there.
I'm gonna look up something real quick.
Yeah, no, you're good. Florence, Alabama, to having the time of my life, to feeling like
great
you're,
historical, beautiful school.
yeah,
Like,
feeling like you're a big fish in a little pond of everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody loves you. You got great friends. To the freaking middle of nowhere. Where
I
you're
mean, it's
like-
just it looks like a daggum trailer park. I ain't hating, but because I've been there. Like I've been through there.
Oh, yeah.
Going to Louisiana. Like it ain't too far out the way.
But you say a trailer park. I lived in a trailer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Did you were you there with Davin Williams?
Yes.
He
So-
was the D-line coach at JSU.
He
I know
was,
there.
and I was just gonna say that
Fantastic, dude. Hey,
dude.
you wouldn't want to mess with him either.
he's got some heavy hands.
Yeah.
When he used to punch that bag and stuff, like
Yeah.
dips, rips.
So he was
shooting
D-line
hand.
coach there also?
Yeah, so he was the D-line coach, and I was his assistant
Okay,
guy.
okay.
So I worked
man.
I worked under Davern. And Davern played
Went to
in
the league,
NFL.
played with the Dolphins.
the Dolphins and the
Giants.
Giants. Had a
Yep.
great career. One of the best D-line coaches I've been around. Very, very intelligent. But yeah, so from June 6th when I got there on, like, I was just like, where am I?
Why am I here?
Yes, but it
But
ended
Dad,
up,
I'm not coming home for Christmas. I'm mad at you.
oh yeah, but it ended up being, dude, let me tell you, those kids, that's some of the best football that I've ever
was some pretty-
Saw-
physically been around.
Saw a bunch of yourself and a bunch of them, didn't you? Like people that they're just wanting to go out there and play ball and work hard, right?
I think they call it last chance for a reason because truly these guys either get in trouble or they're trying to make a name for themselves. And
A bunch of Alabama players went there.
They are. Well, you don't have JUCO in Alabama. Mississippi is a very dominant place to go play JUCO ball. But you look back, our coaching staff of Bo Wallace was our quarterback's coach during that time. And you're talking about a guy that was just an OG on the board in the film room, very intelligent. Buddy Stevens, of course, being the head football coach. You had a guy that played running back at Cincinnati. His name's Rod, that coached running backs. I mean, Cliff Collins, defense coordinator. Cortland Hayes, who was my running backs coach at UNA, he ended up coming on staff and being like kind of the co-OC, type guy, coached running backs as well. But you talking about a coaching staff that was like top notch, that coached hard-nosed football.
Perfect for that
situation, 100%. Because
it's where guys like y'all just fresh out of college, or guys that are really trying to define their coaching career, like get that experience go right.
But it's completely different, man. What I what I was used to and everything. But I don't know if y'all remember the name Kirk Merritt. He played receiver for us. Played at Texas A&M. Ended up leaving Texas A&M, coming over to East. He ended up balling out for East and going to play at Arkansas State. Plays in the NFL now with the Saints. Plays inside receiver. Dontarius Drummond, y'all know that name. They played at Ole Miss. He plays with the Cowboys now.
I mean, there's been countless guys.
Lindsey Scott Jr. was our quarterback. Yeah. We ended up winning the national championship game that year, which was you go from playing in a national championship game your senior year to coaching in a national championship
your ring,
game.
Bro.
Oh, no. But you go from, two different environments, but just.
Where was their national championship played at?
So we played in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Okay.
Yeah, for the national championship. But, dude, I'm telling you, I can remember. I'll tell you a funny story. My first day on the job. So my trailer was behind the complex. And we just got done with a long day. First day, I'm sitting on the freaking porch of my trailer I lived in, and I'm just sitting there in a lawn chair, and I see, roughnecking it, dude. I'm telling you, drinking a Bud Light. Actually,
I can picture this mammoth of a kid,
probably just in his boxers, just like
I'm sure, no
boxers,
shoes,
boots, wife beater,
cowboy hat,
without a doubt, just living the dream. But I can remember I'm sitting there, and I'm like seeing all this smoke, and I'm like, what in the hell is going on? So I'll call our DC, and they call them the slums where the players lived over there in the dorms. He's like, I'm like, Coach, I think the dorm's on fire. He's like, oh God. He's getting all fired up. He's like, go to room 307, knock on the door. So I'm running.
He knew what room.
And it might have not even been 307. It was something like that. But I start beating on the door. I'm like, is Coach Henderson open the door? And, they're like, this guy just showed up. We're not going to open the door. Get out of here. So I'm beating on the door.
Came busting through that Kool-Aid, man.
So I finally get the door open. They open it, and there's like 10 of them in there. And what do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just living their best life. I have to call the DC.
You saw the smoke from your front porch.
Oh, yeah. The smoke hit me as the door opened up. But they're just living the dream, man. But you talking about some guys that would ball out on freaking – we played on Thursdays.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys balled out on Thursdays.
So from what the world got to see of Buddy Stevens.
Is that accurate?
And then so the Netflix stuff happened before you had got there.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Last Chance U stuff before
you
got there?
100%. Dude.
So is it the same guy?
Look, Buddy's an awesome guy. I love Buddy Stevens.
Can we get him on too?
I mean, I'd call him right now if you want me to. And see
Buddy,
my gosh,
do it. See if he'll answer FaceTime.
You want me to see if he'll answer my FaceTime?
Absolutely.
I'll see. You want me to go get my phone?
Yeah.
But no, look, Buddy he means business, man. He really does. Buddy is
not Hayden. Jeez, Hayden. Which freaking phone?
The one in your left hand. Yeah, sister? that one, sister.
I don't care about work.
Buddy's a great dude, man. He he brought me in and kind of allowed me to kind of release my reins and become a first year coach and learn under Davern. He stayed on my rear end and dude, those kids respect him. Is he hard nosed? Does he bring some juice?
Well, it's accountability because you saw it too, and it's the same way. In the next season, with Jason Brown was. Yeah. I mean, it's all like he's.
And I'll tell you this. I mean,
those kids need it. They need it though. Yeah. Like they're like you said, they're there for a reason. So they need that.
Jason Brown,
so that they can. You're a hell of an athlete, right?
Yeah.
They all were. But they need that type of coaching to get it figured the crap out so they can go back to these big D1 schools and keep balling out.
Well, here's the thing about Buddy. Buddy could recruit too, man.
Yeah.
That guy, there was something about him, like when recruits came on campus, they were ended up and they were leaving and they're like, we're coming to East. Yeah. I mean, we had some ballers.
Yeah.
Fellas. I mean, and a great coaching staff. I mean, Bo Wallace, I mean, think of what that guy did in college. You know what I'm saying? He beat Alabama twice.
Hey, I know he hates Hugh Freeze.
Yes. Yes. But, you know, I mean, you had Bo Wallace there as a quarterback coach. I mean, you had Lindsey Scott, who was a baller at LSU, was just a backup quarterback that wasn't getting playing time.
Yep.
We ended up signing him and, I mean, god dang, we make this huge run and win a national championship against Arizona Western. But yeah, Buddy just means business, man. And I think where his, you know, his motivation and you seeing him getting fired up on the sideline, throwing punches at referees and stuff.
Awesome.
But yeah, it was. But I think it just comes from just the love of the game and just that winning mentality.
Well, he holds that huge accountability because he knows. Of course, I'm sure the kids, some of them probably knew it, but for those who didn't, it's like he knows, and Jason Brown said it all the time, it's like, you need me.
Yeah.
So it's like, you do it my way because nobody wants to be here, but you are here.
100%.
And you're probably going to go somewhere better than where you were before you came to me.
Without a doubt.
Right.
And I'll tell you this was crazy. Are y'all Titans fans? Both y'all Titans guys?
I'm a Steelers fan, but I'm a Titans fan too.
Okay, so long story short, when I first got there was a guy named Tierre Tart that played defensive line.
Oh, yeah.
Tierre Tart played for the Titans the past couple of years, and he just got traded to...
I think he's with the Texans now.
Yeah, I think it's the Texans. So Tierre Tart's the number one defensive lineman in the nation at this time. And I'm like, who is this guy? Like, this guy... freak in the weight room, freak on the field, but just really didn't have that effort, you know, like, but he just always wanted, you know, to work. Hey, I want you at 110. I don't want you at just 100. Like, I need that extra 10 out of you, you know, and Tierre was a baller, but just didn't have that mentality Buddy wanted him to have. Shoot, they put him back on a Greyhound bus, kicked him off the team, and, freaking went back to New York where he was from or wherever he was from, ended up signing with FIU and then gets drafted. Yeah. So I mean, when you truly hear last chance it truly is you know, your last chance a lot of times.
We joked about it a lot at JSU because he's with the Chargers right now.
Okay, yeah, the Chargers.
Yeah. But we said it a lot too at JSU. It's like because we had, you know, Rock Thomas come from Auburn, LaMichael Fanning from Alabama. There was at one point the national championship every year where we went. Our 4 defensive linemen were all from the SEC. We had one from Auburn,
got a guy from
two from Auburn, 2 from Tennessee, and a kid from Alabama. It's like we was like, this is last chance you,
yeah.
Because that's what it was, and that's before, you know, the transfer portal is what it is now.
Yeah, and, you know, you going back to the, you know, you asked me earlier, and I didn't answer that question of the recruiting process now with the NIL stuff and you know, everybody jumping in the transfer portal. There's no loyalty in the game anymore, I feel like. You know, when I was at UNA, I think we were so good because all those guys stayed. Yeah. My freshman year, you know, there was 57 freshmen that came in. Wow. And a lot of those guys stayed. And I can remember Coach Wallace saying, guys, if y'all will stay, you'll win, you'll win a conference and you'll have a chance to play in the national championship. And, you know, we came together as a group and we came together as one and we were all close.
I mean, culture.
You know, the culture. And, you know, there's probably still 10, 15, 20 of us that talk on a daily basis, you know, because we're still close. But there's no loyalty in the game anymore. And Coach Wallace said it perfect of just staying and you know, building that relationship and believing in one another. And he was right. We win 4 GSC championships in a row and playing a national championship game our senior year. But, man, I think the portal's kind of taken the fun out of the game. Yeah. I think there should be a rule of something like, hey, you've got to, you know, stay till you graduate and then you can leave, or – you know, all this money.
At least having the year sit again, like bring back, sit out a year.
Or, you know, they talked about, which I love the story behind, you know, Ohio State's year and the run that they had and the, you know, the Jesus base that they had and all this kind of stuff this year with that football team. But somebody said, you know, that team was worth over
$20 million roster.
I mean, what?
Yeah, Paul Feinbaum, I saw a quote that he had said, he's like, Ohio State had a $20 million roster.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to be impressed by them winning the Natty?
How do you not win a national championship?
Yeah.
You know, what's that guy that played it out? Is it Caleb Downs?
Caleb Downs, yeah.
You know, he goes over there and he balls out for him.
Yeah.
He's probably worth, what,
Half
$1 million?
At least.
Yeah.
But, you know, you look at the recruiting process of when we were coming through and compared to it now, it makes you wonder of, like, what are these guys, say they don't make it to the NFL, you know, they're a bust in the NFL, and they're so used to making all this money, and then you get out in the real world and you're not making those millions. What's gonna happen to them mentality wise?
Yeah, and I was thinking about this the other day. You know, I don't know if we've even talked about, because we talked a lot about the portal, but it's like, I wonder if, you know, guys are transferring, which granted, some guys are transferring, you know, every year they can, which is a bad look. But it's like you start seeing these guys and how many it is. Like, do you think a lot of them feel like they're not going to make it, so they get the money now because they don't feel like they have a chance to go to the NFL?
I mean, I guess I haven't really thought about that, but I mean,
my argument I've been making with Colton and then others we've had on the show now is like, you're a competitor, right?
Yeah.
So like, to me, it's always like, are they really chasing the money because that's their end game? And you made a great point about if they get the opportunity to make it in the NFL and then squander it. I've brought that up too. But it's like, if these guys have spent their whole lives to make it to where they are in college and be competitors, and you're like, they're going to get the money either way. But like, let's say they, I'm just going to use Alabama as my example. They're at Alabama and they get offered $1 million to play there a year, right? Or whatever. And then Ohio State comes along and offers them $3 million a year. Like, if they're truly a competitor, like, and they're, have bled for this game every single day, like, in a Warrior, it's like, at least for me, like, I'm speaking for myself, and I feel like so many other men are like this. It's like, no, I'm gonna, for one, loyalty, but like, I want to, I came here for a reason. Like, even, the money.
Ohio
but like,
State had their chance.
Yeah, like I want to win here. Like, I want to prove myself here.
100%.
And I just can't imagine the money if. And clearly it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But like, I would be hopeful that, these guys, so many decisions are not made through money. Like, I'm hopeful that once you're really good and the greats are like, no, like, I'm a dog, I'm a Warrior. Like, I want to go out and prove myself and win with this team and, show the NFL and everybody else in this country and world that who I am.
I couldn't agree more.
So,
because, truly, asking both y'all, when we were growing up, as kids, why did we play sports?
Loved it,
right?
And wanted to win.
The love of the game. Yeah. We all had passion for the game. And I feel like that's kind of out of the picture now.
Yeah.
Because, you're lining up on a Saturday knowing that you make millions of dollars playing.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, that's awesome. But, like, going on to college, you know what was $1 million to me? Walking in the cafeteria, eating free. You know what I'm saying?
I tell you what. Hey, we had a heck of a cafeteria.
That meal plan that I was on.
Did you ever go to Wow?
Love Wow.
Wow. And when we got that Chick-fil-A.
Wow Wings.
Yeah.
Wow Wings. We had a Wow.
Y'all did?
Yeah.
Man, them what?
But, the cafeteria things, that was my $1 million bucks, having the opportunity to wake up every day and go to class and to get a degree, from college and, or just lining up on a Saturday and taking it all in. And there was nothing better than lining up on an opening kickoff.
See, that's the point I've been making nonstop.
You just get,
you love the game. You love the game, right? So I still feel like that's probably the case for so many of these kids. So it's like, is money really affecting their decisions that much? Or is it because they truly actually do just want to make it to the league, so they're trying to give themselves the best opportunity to do that? Now, when it comes to these guys who are at places like Alabama, Georgia, Texas, or Ohio State, it's all the the blue bloods that are moving around. It's like, are you moving around because you're not getting play time, because you think you're not going to win, because you think you're not going to get to the league, or is it at the end of the day because you're just chasing money? And for me, it's like, do you not have the foresight to see that that's just short-term money? And it's not going to last you very long, despite it being $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, whatever. When if you stayed and stuck it out and, built yourself up and won, you'd have to go to a shot at the NFL where you can make millions upon millions.
Yep. Well, my dad always talked about growing up, that instant gratification. Everybody wants it now. Nobody really wants to work for it,
No.
And I think that's where the college comes into play of, hey, guess what? You're getting a degree from the like we're on that Alabama kick. You know, you're getting a degree from the University of Alabama. You've got your meals taken care of. Those guys eat like kings, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're in a weight room getting better every day. You're working with the best strength coaches in the nation. You know, and that should be the side of things where you're building for something bigger, in my opinion.
Like, I know if it were me getting recruited, you know, let's just pretend Saban was still there. Like, if I knew that Saban was recruiting me once becoming a university, I wouldn't give a crap. How much money?
I wouldn't answer another call.
I wouldn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't care how many people they sent, how much money they'd be like, no, I'm good. Like, I want to go play for this man
because that's the best coach in the world.
Ever, and I want to learn under him.
I'm probably going to end up in the NFL making more money.
Exactly,
more money than I can shake a stick at. You know?
Exactly.
My dad, my family, my brothers, my sisters, everybody's taking care of
that first game check. You know, is going to be more than so many families will see in a year, and I get you know 17 of them a year. You know, if you made it to the NFL.
You go back, man. I can't even imagine making that much. You know,
okay, your recruiting process. Let's say you're in it now. You're an 18-year-old kid, and you see $1 million sitting right in front of you. All you got to do is sign.
I'm still going to put myself in the best situation to prolong my career.
Well, right. You know, and that's we talked to Jordan about this last time we were on. It's like having the right people behind you in your corner, making sure you have the right mentality. So
don't let money drive you
in the bag.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, people are probably, when they watch this, and y'all probably going to look at me crazy when I say this, but you go back 10, 12 years, you know, back the other way when I was going through the recruiting process, and I could do it all over again. If God was like, hey, let's do it all over again, you know, I would do the same thing that I did 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I heard the safety, the baller, number 24, I can't remember his name for Notre Dame. I heard his little, conference after his speech after the game, and he was like, it's about the people. You know, it's not about everything else. It's not about, you know, all the money that everybody's talking about, the NIL stuff, the transfer portal. He said, I stayed for my 6th year because the locker room behind me.
And you're going to see – sorry, go ahead.
No,
finish.
you're good. I'm just saying he's so right because that's what made my experience so special.
And guys like that is what sets people apart.
It is because, you know, the coaches that I have relationships with today, you know, my coaches that I played for, my friends, my best friends that I still talk to on a daily basis, like that's bigger than money to me in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Just, you know, all the games that we won and all the memories of being on the bus and plane rides and, you know, all the, you know, playing in the national championship, winning 4 GSC championships, like you can have that money because I'd rather have those memories over that money that's going to be gone whenever it's gone.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're not going to hear a lot of, you're going to hear more about the guys that transfer a lot than the guys that stick with it.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like with the transfer, like, I mean, they say all the time now, thousands upon thousands of players enter each year, and that's the last time you'll ever hear of them. It's like, I wouldn't take that risk.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, even big dogs.
You don't get picked up. I mean, where you at? You at the crib, dog. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
you might end up at East Mississippi.
You might. I mean, you had everything right here for you.
That's another thing I was going to bring up. So they just passed that new thing about community college getting 4 more years, I guess, added onto it. Is that? Because they waive your 2 years of if you play JUCO ball, they waive the first 2 years of your JUCO ball, and then you play 4.
Pavlov, whatever his name is, the Vanderbilt quarterback, you know, I always want to call him Pavlova or whatever.
Pavia?
Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
That was his argument to try to get another year next year because then I believe he played JUCO ball.
Yeah,
he did.
And then I think he was one of the main, you know, people pushing for that to get the JUCO years
his
dismissed.
request got denied, if I'm not mistaken.
Did it? Did it end up getting?
I thought I saw that.
Maybe it did.
Could be wrong though.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's good for the players to potentially spend 4 years in JUCO?
Ain't gonna lie, I would have loved to have another, you know,
right.
2 or 3 years. But no, I mean, I disagree with it. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think these guys. You get 2 years waived off. Dude, you're going into that place 21 years old. You're already a grown man that's played grown man football for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By the time you're playing, you know, your senior year, you're 25, 26 years old. And
that's NFL, like, prime years. Yeah.
But I think
that's a look in the mirror situation for me. Like,
yeah, man, I just
if I hadn't made it now, then I'm.
Yeah, I think you take your red shirt year if you're at a 4-year university or you play your 2 years at JUCO and finish out your last 2 years. just go back to the old school ways.
Yeah.
Because what Cam Rising from Utah is getting his 7th year, I think.
I don't know. There's a tight end
at Miami.
Yeah,
9 years.
9 years, brother.
How?
He's had 4 injuries, red shirt, COVID, gray shirt. I'm like, brother,
go away.
It's time to hang it up.
In your
Miami.
In your
Go get a
8th
job.
year, finally, you scored your first touchdown, man. Like, come on, man.
You could be an Uber in Miami and make bank. But
we're lining
I understand love of the game, but like you said, look in the mirror, man.
Yeah.
But there's a difference in love of the game and realizing like
it's
okay,
it's
you know
time.
what I'm saying?
It's time. Like you can still love the game just from the bleachers.
Which don't get me wrong. I mean, I would love to play.
I'd sit up right now and go play if I could. But I mean,
shoot, I'd hurt myself.
My arm hurts. This cold weather's been hurting.
3 surgeries and freaking beat up nowadays.
That's what we need to. We need to get a bunch of old heads together and play some football.
Online? Xbox.
I like softball better.
There it is. Bingo.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
man.
You just found your next guy for the season.
I haven't played softball in 2 years.
I'm telling you.
It's been one.
I'm worried to play anything nowadays, pulling a hamstring. Like
I played basketball.
I'm telling you, my buddies played
Dangerous.
freaking kickball and everything like that. I'm scared I'm going to take off and pull a hamstring.
We played men's league baseball the past few years. It's legitimate baseball. Our team actually won the championship last summer.
Yeah, we played. So our first time playing was 2 years ago.
It's legit too. It's like legit baseball.
Oh, it sounds like it.
And it's there's 10 teams. You play everybody. So you get a 20 game season.
There's 14.
Yeah, so you get a 20 to 25 game regular season, and then
that's a lot of games.
Playoffs.
And what's the pitch limit?
At your own risk.
This mother, he was throwing daggum 120 pitches a game.
So me and him,
he pitched better as a 30-year-old than he did when he was in high school.
Oh man!
So
shots fired.
No, that's a compliment.
The noodle felt great.
Yeah,
the noodle.
Now I wasn't given a chance.
Loosey goosey, right?
Let's just be real. I was not given a chance.
He would just be like, Preston, let me get a pill.
So that's exactly what it was. So
and about 6 beers.
We picked up,
ready to go.
We picked up for a guy who had a team in the league this year. We didn't put a team together.
We won the championship, and then we couldn't put a team together this past summer.
Yeah, so we picked up with a team, and I think it was the second time I started pitching. I think I threw 140 pitches.
Yeah. Golly,
7 innings.
Not including warm-ups, or in between innings.
7 innings, 140
Atlanta
pitches.
Braves signing.
Like, I already gave him
I would say probably 70-80% of all those throws were curveballs.
I'm a great long reliever.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll
he's
eat
a
pitch count.
He's a Maddox type. It ain't gonna be much gas, but he had one of the nastiest curveballs I've ever seen.
I
dude.
was thinking like Randy Johnson or somebody like that.
Oh no, he ain't bringing the gas.
Ain't no gas, bro.
Ain't no gas.
Ain't no gas.
That's
Ain't got no
hilarious.
gas in it.
Ain't no gas. I know what's wrong with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
No, this is a super fun league. But yeah, man, and at least we can still do that. But trying to do anything else like contact,
I enjoy working out nowadays. But
nowadays,
I mean,
like he just
you've been
found,
a gym rat since
like
you came
he
out
just
of the
found
womb.
out what working out with.
you were born in the weight room.
He's
molded
the
by
male.
it.
You know who?
Who?
You know who?
I didn't hear.
He's the male. You know who?
Oh yeah.
oh Lord.
It's a compliment.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, fair enough.
We just can't say that.
Scary.
Yeah, I would like to see y'all wrestle. I'll tell you who. You actually might know who I'm talking about, but I'll tell you who later.
All right.
So after you had a great football career, from growing up, high school ball, playing with your dad, playing college ball, having the opportunity to coach with Buddy Stevens. What's been life like after football? What are you doing these days?
Yeah, life's been great. Definitely made a transition, and I didn't finish, but I went back to UNA and I coached for a little while as well. And got done coaching. Dad was getting ready to retire or claimed that he was going to retire. That man, he said he's
Brady.
got. Yeah, he's probably got 34 more years in him. But Dad called me and asked me to come work for him at Buckhorn and coach at Buckhorn. So we coached together at Buckhorn. We left Buckhorn, went to Arab, coached with Dad for 2 years at Buckhorn, or 2 years at Arab after I left Buckhorn with Dad. But so finally got out of the coaching world and made a leap of faith. Got a phone call from Sports Med Orthopedics right here in Huntsville.
I need to see you about an X-ray later, man.
Yeah, come by and see us. Definitely not a doctor or anything like that.
Care.
Yes,
As long as you can run that MRI X-ray machine,
Let me see what's
we'll
wrong.
be there.
Yes, but all these 104 pitches, you're gonna need something.
I need a new arm.
But they offered me the director of sports marketing job up there for those guys. So
That's where Peyton should have worked.
yeah, so I mean, life's been great. Kind of made that transition, got out of the coaching world. I mean, man, growing up, like we talked about, we moved quite a bit growing up. I mean, we went
You
from
were a sports brat.
yeah,
You weren't a military
man.
brat. You were a sports
I
brat.
mean, it really is. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like military just moving. But we went from Jacksonville State to Dadeville, down at Auburn, to Sparkman, to Grissom, to Arab, to Buckhorn, back to Arab. So we've traveled all over the place. Now, don't get me wrong, coaching is always going to be in my blood.
Yeah.
If I have kids one day and decide to get married and settle down and have kids, I'll coach my kids. But
That's the worst.
it's rough.
I
isn't
love
it?
coaching my
Yeah.
kids.
But so
He just don't listen.
But did we listen when we were growing up? No. But so got out of the coaching world, which like I said, will always be in my blood. But got into this world and worked for some phenomenal people that's really taking me under their wing, and worked for a great group of people in the marketing side of things. So
SportsMed is a huge
it is
brand.
You ever
It
got
is.
to meet James Andrews?
So we're partners with Dr. Andrews. I've never been associated.
I don't know
with
if he
Dr.
even
Andrews.
practices still or doesn't.
So he's retired.
His first name is
now.
Doctor,
Yeah,
not James.
he's from the same.
Dr. James Andrews.
He's from the same very small town I'm from in Louisiana.
Really?
Yeah,
What part is that?
it's called Homer.
Okay.
Yeah, like my family knows him, so like
Dude.
grew up broke poor.
I'll tell
But
you.
he had like the nicest house in the town.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Well, he's the most famous doctor.
Yeah, I know.
In,
but yeah,
the
like
country.
seriously, like the town
Or
is
the
the size
world.
of this room.
Crazy. I didn't even know you were from Louisiana.
Yeah.
You talking about some ballers. We had some ballers in East Mississippi from
Oh,
Louisiana.
I bet.
I'm sure.
I mean, ballers. But yeah, life's been good, man. Made that transition. Still in the sports world, but
Different aspect of it, right?
yeah, just different side of things. But man, God's been good. So no complaints on this end.
And you're
So
still
stick
built
with
like
that.
a brick shit house.
No,
you could throw around weight, move bodies around if you needed to.
No, those days are over.
Yeah, right.
I think you should make the call to your old age and be like, hey,
Yeah, right.
you know what? I've got the inkling again. Suit me up, coach. Let's roll.
So how old you're 30?
I'll be
29.
32 in May.
Okay.
You're 32 in May.
Yeah, 32 in May.
Yeah, so
So-
get your agents like, look, if there's any teams out there that's looking for a 32-year-old thumper,
32 is going to be 25.
Well, you know what? I've got one complaint about the NFL. How do you line up 5 yards apart from each other and expect to just make a freaking collision on kickoff nowadays?
I
You know,
said-
they changed the rules.
That's
Yeah,
gonna change.
someone got
You know what I'm saying?
in the game the other night. One of the guys got a concussion doing
I
that.
just, what is a concussion?
Yeah. Oh well, I can promise you the three of us know what it.
Yes.
Years later.
Undiagnosed
Yeah,
concussions.
yeah. Years later,
Yeah.
You gotta walk it off concussion.
No, man,
I'm definitely donating to the CTE program.
Will Smith.
it's just, the game's just changed. I hate to say this, but I feel like the game's just become soft.
It has. I mean, and it does affect the special teams players,
does.
guys.
I
Yeah.
was just about to say that because we're a couple years away now from them just getting ready to kick off, having the team start out
Yeah.
on
yeah.
the 25,
Hey, here's
30
your ball.
yard
It's
line.
25.
Yep.
Like, no.
That's going to be because a lot of guys, they may be star players at their colleges, respective colleges, on receiver, DB, linebacker, whatever, but they are drafted to be special teams. You got to think those guys are out of a job.
Yeah.
Well, growing up, I mean, there's three. I mean, we always heard there's
three
three.
phases.
There's three phases of the ball game,
Yeah.
right? I mean, special teams is always going to set the tone of the
Yeah.
game.
Now it's
Then
gonna be 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, what? Come on now. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's nothing better lining up either on kickoff return or kickoff.
Dude.
And
You
start
were still in the
game.
era of like the wedges and stuff, right?
Yeah. So when I was at UNA,
The wedge busters.
my responsibility was on kickoff. I broke the wedge,
Yep.
and then on kickoff return,
Bowling ball.
I freaking.
If y'all see the
Set
white
the
guy,
wedge.
number 35, running at you, try to slow him down.
No, it was fun, man. I'll tell you this, my dad cracks up, and I still crack up at this. And going back to UNA, our trainers always joke, but they were like, you were either going to get knocked out or you were going to try to knock somebody
Oh,
else out.
absolutely.
So, there's nothing like it.
No, absolutely not. I think every kid in America should be required to play sports in general, but football specifically.
I think a punishment for these bad kids now should be lined up on kickoff.
Oklahoma. Oh yeah, just put them on kickoff.
Yeah, just make them.
Just go back to the 1990s kickoff rule.
Yes.
Anything was legal.
The Brian Cush days and god dang.
I love watching his highlights.
Oh my goodness, dude! One of my favorite things about
I think he tried to eat
the
his
Texas
own
guy,
helmet.
right? That would just headbutt
He tried
people.
to eat his own helmet one time.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video where he's like comes to the defense? They're getting ready to take the field. He was like, "Hey, I got an idea. All y'all stay right here for the first play. I'm gonna go out by myself."
Dude, the Hard Knocks with the Texans when he was there was amazing.
It was great.
Yeah. No,
but just a different breed, man.
Yep. Well, this was a fun episode, man. I'm so pumped to have you on, and it went even better than I expected.
Well, I appreciate y'all.
It was
y'all having
so
me.
fun. Lots of great moments, lots of great memories.
Yes.
Loved hearing your story, man.
Well, I appreciate it.
And I would love to have you back on. I'd love to have we're getting these high school kids coming out.
Yeah.
I would love to have, you on when we get one of them in one day, like specifically a football player, just hype them, give them any sort of advice you can, just
absolutely
help steer them, whatever,
We'll sit back and watch.
Yeah. Well, I think
we'll ask the questions and y'all can have it.
Well, I'll tell you this, what you guys are doing is awesome. You know, you see it all the time and you see guys doing it. So y'all taking that risk and, taking this opportunity to have those kids on. And
it's a lot more fun for us. We get to live through them.
And that's okay too, right? Because our time came into an end, and now you're getting to see these kids be successful. But man, keep doing what y'all are doing. Proud of you guys.
Appreciate
you done having kids yet? Popping them out.
I'm done. We're done.
Come on.
Yeah, guys, we done.
No, seriously, proud of you guys, and appreciate y'all having me on.
Yep, I enjoyed it.
Me too.
Yeah, it was fun.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Again, if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 100. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, with having Hayden on, those numbers will skyrocket.
That's America's ass you saw earlier.
And also, if you're looking for some good, cheap, affordable insurance for you and your family, please reach out to our buddy over at Goosehead. That is Cranston Holden. He will set you up, take care of you and your family. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.